Welcome back. In the final part of the class, we discussed tonight taking care of ourselves. The more we nurture ourselves, the more we're there for ourselves, and the more we're there for others, and the more we can contend with everything we're dealing with. If you like the class, give it a like so more will be able to see it. Okay, well, my final point. And then if we have extra time, I did have something from the Parsha to share. So you have something to share at your table, that your children probably come home with nothing because they're in camp. But my final point is take care of yourself. Nurture yourself. Very often, if we're dealing with hard stuff, and that was the theme of this week and last week, very often we're dealing with hard stuff, we forget about ourselves in the process. But we need to. When you don't take care of your physical and mental and emotional and spiritual health, many other things will fall apart that don't need to. Some things are falling apart, but the rest doesn't have to fall apart as well. So no matter what's going on, to help the situation, not to deny the situation, to help the situation, take care of yourself. There's a famous story, I believe it's true, of a woman. This was in Russia at a time when there was, great famine, and I think her husband already passed away, and she was alone with many children, and somehow she got an egg, one egg, and she's surrounded by all her hungry children. They all want that egg, and she didn't know what to do. Should she give it to the baby? He's the youngest, and since he's the weakest, she should give it to the oldest. He's the one working, he needs the strength. She's looking at all her hungry children. Should she cut it up and give each one a tiny, tiny sliver? She didn't know what to do. And in the end, this might be true, this might be a story, I think it's true, she ate it. She ate the egg herself. And the kid said, "Mama, what are you doing? Like, we're all begging for the egg and Mama's eating the egg?" And she said, "I'm making for you a mama." And that is so true. We were never in that situation, and God willing, we'll never, ever, ever be in that situation. But the concept resonates in our situations, in whatever's going on in our lives. We have to really, really know that concept.
That is so crazy. I just told a story to someone today. Wow. I'm not kidding. That is so weird. But it's so funny. True. Because the days I don't take care of myself or like eat a proper meal or work out or just like take care of my, my basic needs, I'm like no good for anyone else. Like, don't even come near me because I'm so super cranky. So it's definitely true.
True. So wow, that's okay. So I guess somebody here needs to hear it because I heard it twice. And yeah, like you're saying, taking care of your basic needs, and maybe it would feel as extras. Taking walks, I mean, I think even better than exercise, just being alone, breathing, processing. They say about the Maharsha. Maharsha was one of the great lights, in the Jewish world. He was a great leader of the Jewish people. He ran called a yeshiva. That was before the term yeshiva, but a place where people came and studied under him. He gave classes twice a day, and his students were obviously people that you had to prepare a lot to give those classes. He wrote numerous responsa. We have just a fragment that survived over the hundreds of years, and there's so many responses that he wrote to legal questions from literally like world Jewry. And he was a doctor, and every day he took a walk. I think that's an amazing lesson. We should as well. I think journaling is a wonderful way to nurture yourself. As I've mentioned many times, my big belief in a thank you God journal. It obviously opens us up to our gratitude and love for God, but it also really nurtures us. It's a discipline, but it feeds us, because when we realize how well taken care of we are, it reassures us. It puts us in a better space. Talking to a good friend can be very nurturing. Not necessarily about the issue, just talking. That could feed you. For some people, reading a book, a light, mindless book, easy getaway, or an emotional book that gives you an excuse to cry, to release other tears as well. Everybody, has to think for themselves of what's self-care. maybe some people can share some other examples of self-care, how to nurture yourself when things are hard. Maybe there's no money also, so you can't go into the moneyed things, or maybe there is and that's not the problem. But just different ideas of like sharing what would be a doable self-care to make sure you're taking care of yourself as well. Obviously the basics, like Shira said, sleeping and eating and exercising. Any other ideas of things that just can make a person feel better?
Helping someone else is pretty helpful.
Think about it for yourself. If you're in a situation like that, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself so you have the ability to take care of the situation. Take care of yourself so you can take care of others, and with more joy, more stamina. And God definitely would want you to take care of yourself. So someone raised a question here I'm going to respond to. How do you know what to keep doing? You believe it's happening. You know God wants me to have it. I know I'm going to get it. But how do I know what to do to add? So that's a great question. And as I mentioned before, well, I didn't really go so much into it. What I said before was, don't worry about it. That was my before answer. Like sometimes people get a little stuck on, I don't know what to add, and therefore I don't add, and therefore I feel stuck. Just add anything that you know God would want you to do. To give a better answer, because that's the answer I gave before. One obvious way to add when you really want something from God, and you know it's going to happen, and you know you deserve it, and you know it's the right of God's child to get this, is to try to think in the specific area of the issue. If very broad strokes. If it's a health issue, I can look at kosher. If it's a lack of peace in the family between the husband and wife, I could look at how well I'm keeping the laws of family purity or covering my hair. If it's whatever, if it's a lack of money, adding in charity. So sort of trying to find the comparable area, or the area that seemingly addresses those issues. Meaning everything in the physical plane is a reflection of the spiritual plane. Which isn't to mean anyone's guilty for anything going on. But as someone said before, maybe just God wants a lot more from you. So in general, add, and don't worry so much, is it the perfect thing to add? It's better to add than to worry and therefore don't add. Second point in response to this is to look in the specific area of the problem and to think, where is service for God relating to that area? Could there be an area that doesn't relate? I doubt it. Sometimes it might be very case specific, but in general, you could try to think with someone that maybe is more aware than you of these issues, but you could probably figure something out. The third answer, which doesn't negate the truth of the other two, is add in that piece that, like you said, you were never going to give to God. If you have such a piece, and many of us do, add in those things that are hardest for you and that you for sure are not doing. Because when you do that thing that for sure you're not doing, it's very powerful. And to be honest, it might be the reason you're in this world. Lubavitcher Rebbe says that obviously we all are here with many missions. But in general, what we're here for is what challenges us the most. It's like the evil inclination, the powers inside of us that are trying to thwart us. They know our mission statement. They know what our souls need and why our souls in this world. So specifically in those areas, they'll make it like impossible. And they'll let you be really good in a lot of other areas, so you don't stress over these impossible areas. So very often that which is most difficult is most meaningful for your soul. So I'm giving you a 3-level answer. 1, just add and don't worry about it. 2, try to add in the area of the challenge, of where you're suffering. And 3, give God that which is most difficult for you. Because the more difficult it is, the more meaningful it is. And therefore, the more, wow, is it going to create a powerful, powerful energy that will come down and give you the blessings you need. Okay. Anyone else? You could ask it, you could chat it, they both work. All right.
Wait, what did you mean by number 2? Can you give an example?
Yeah, I meant, like I said, if someone has an issue in her shalom bayis and her relationship with her husband and peace in the home, you think of, well, what are the commandments most foundational to that? All the laws connected to mikvah, family purity, as we call them, and laws of covering hair. So you say, well, I cover my hair and I do all that, fine. Within fine, there's always how you can do more. There's always, trust me, in every commandment out there, there's always going first class. So the person says, I do it. Okay, but maybe upgrade to first class in those areas, because that's the specific area that has to do with this issue. Or as I said, health. Health is our body. The foods we eat are what's becoming our body. So again, certain specific health issues, it's explained different things to do. But I'm saying in generic health, enhance your kosher. I'm very kosher. Of course you're kosher. Everyone in this class is kosher. But there's always enhancing. There's always more, like we actually recently spoke about. Whatever, people can give different examples for things. This is just what's coming to my head, is the simple things, the obvious things. There's not enough money to cover your expenses. And charity. Well, how do I give charity if I don't have money? Because charity is going to create the money, so figure it out. So because it's a lack of money, what is the spiritual way to add that most relates to money? Charity. So that would be what I meant by number 2, looking at the situation and then seeing that situation in the light of, how does the situation relate to serving God? Where is the mitzvah that's supposed to be helping that situation? It's very interesting. We're told, as I'm sure actually we all know, that there are 613 parts of our body, and there are 613 commandments. And there's also 613 parts of our godly soul, and there's also 613 parts of our animal soul. And the idea is that each commandment is really to nurture a certain part of our soul, to refine a certain part of our animal soul, and to heal, to bless a certain part of our body. So every way we serve God is really supposed to come back to us in the areas we need. So obviously sometimes you're like, I don't know, I can't figure it out. Okay, so add and don't worry about it. Or you want to give God more, add in something really hard for you, because that for sure has enormous power above. But if you can think of the related area, that also often is very good. Sorry, someone just sent up a question. I'd like to just look at it. Someone raised a very, very good question that's probably many people can relate to, which is, well, what if you want to add, but other people in your home are not willing to do it? Your spouse, your children, you want to add in kosher and the kids are like, no way. Or you want to be more careful in family purity and husband's like, no way. So what do? You want to add, that's the area to add, and that's the area that relates to the issue, that's the area of your challenge, but you do not live on an island, thank God. It's a great question. It's a very practical, relevant question. I would say that probably what you need to do is figure out the most peaceful way to be respectful and ask for respect. There's more than one woman I know that is completely religious and married to a man who's completely not religious. Well, how does that work? Well, there's respect and boundaries. I mean, like really religious, very intently religious, and married to a man who's not religious at all. Not easy situation. And all the kids came out religious. Not easy situation, but doable situation with a lot of respect and a lot of boundaries. So obviously we're not talking about anything as dramatic here, But let's say you wanted to add in kosher because you see a number of your children have health issues that you're concerned over. So you're like, okay, health relates to kosher. It does. And you thought of ways to add, or you listened to the class we had on kosher. We had, I think, at least a 2-part series on it, and you thought of ways you could add. But your kids are very resentful, or your husband's resentful. But you could say to your children something like, or husband or children, something like, from now on, this is the item I want to buy. We're not going to buy this. We're going to buy this. If you still want to eat whatever, that's okay. You're not saying it's fine. You don't think it's fine. That's okay. But just don't put it in our pots. Don't put it in our microwave. Don't put it in our pots. And, I'm not stopping you, obviously, from eating. Because your husband would say, no way, I have to eat my whatever. Fine. Eat it in the office. Eat it in your car. Just don't bring it in the house. That's what I'm asking. To respect. To give me that respect. And I'm giving you that respect, obviously. And saying, for sure, I don't want to stop you from eating it. I just don't want it to be in my pots. I don't want it to be in my kitchen. I'm not saying it exactly the best way. Obviously, there are better ways to say it, but that's the point. Something along those lines. Many families have mixed levels, and it can work with respect from both directions. Thank you. Someone just told me a beautiful vignette that just happened now based on something in this class. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful. So we should do it. We should know there's no impossible. Some things are very, very, very ultra challenging. There's a lot of people in a lot of pain in this world. And it's going to work out. You are God's child. He is there for you. Like Dina said, like I was saying to her, He's absolutely there for you. Appreciate all the good and know that the other stuff, even if it's the most critical thing in your life, it will be. And you're going to add in a way that it's just going to happen so smoothly. Thank you so much for joining. And I hope you should all have blessings, just like someone shared with me this beautiful little story that just happened out from the class. Feel free to let us know, because it's so wonderful to know that things are changing, things are shifting, things are getting better. Thank you.